All right, so I have to jump right in on this. It's a review of the new NASCAR Heat Mobile. As you can see right there, I wanted to go through sort of the front matter of the game before I get here. So this is the main screen. It's where you start. One thing about this game, I'll go ahead and start it up. It is a little bit different than Real Racing 3. There are some differences. Um, As you can see here down at the bottom, you have all those prize boxes. I'll slide up. You click on them. As you can see, it pays you game money for each one of them. That's a big difference. Is there are ways other than just racing to collect money for the game. Up there, right there, you see where it zoomed in. This you can see here, it generates 60 cash per minute. And obviously I collected this ever how long ago, so I'll collect that, and you see that come in up there. Go back. There's a couple other things we can look at here. Go right here to this one. The Research and Development Center is what it's called, and I can come in here and you see that it says that the engine is at maximum level for now, and I'll go in a little more to what that has. Actually, let me go ahead and run a race. So to start the race, you go up there where you see the checkered flag, and it gives a list of events. You can go back and do events. I think I'm going to do I'm going to do Daytona first, since it's one of the common tracks between this game and Real Racing 3. So I'm going to go into the Daytona 500, the first one, and so as you see, it gives you challenges. 4 low passes, finish 35th, 185 mile per hour average lap, run 35th or better, and 4 passes on the high side of the track. It gives me the option to reset them. I can either pay for it or I can watch an ad. But right now I'm just going to go ahead and race. Not bad on the graphics. Maybe not quite as good. As you can see, it's in chase view. I can switch into cockpit view, or I can go back to chase view. It doesn't offer the bumper view that Real Racing 3 does, and it doesn't offer... Oh, actually, I guess it does offer bumper view. I didn't remember that. But it doesn't offer the hood view. Now, one thing you notice right there, it automatically brakes, and you don't see anything like you see on Real Racing 3 where I'm actually having to input for the throttle. For me, that is the biggest negative of the game, is that I can't control the throttle inputs, and that's not anything for me. I went and I actually looked up the FAQs for the game, and you just see a wreck there. So, and there you go. It's actually kind of good that that came out. So it does caution flags. It doesn't really run you around. It just sort of resets the field. So it's not entirely realistic in that sense, but that's okay. It does have cautions. It is a mobile game, so it's not going to be perfect. It's not Forza or something like that. Passing up on the high side of the track, it brakes automatically. I don't like that. One thing about this, and one reason I wanted to show it, this game, even though it's officially NASCAR, it's just as unrealistic with the drafting at Daytona as Real Racing 3 is. In reality, there's just no way. You can't drive like I just did. That has sort of been one of my biggest criticisms, and it's why I think NASCAR really flounders on Real Racing 3, is because Daytona is one of the tracks, and even it it's just it's almost impossible to get the drafting right at Daytona in a game. I've played some of the top end NASCAR games for consoles, and I've played a number of NASCAR games over almost 20 years. So I think the first one I had came out in 1998. I don't know if I bought it in 1998, but I know that's when it came out. And the drafting wasn't right for that one either. So you can see it's got pretty much all the racers. I have my own car. It's not like in Real Racing 3 where you have to run a specific car. So I finished first. I earned $3,000. That's pretty much standard for every race. They all pay the same, which is a difference because obviously 4 laps at Daytona is much longer than 4 laps at the next track that I'm going to race. It's definitely more than 4 laps at Richmond, even though I think Richmond is 8 or 9 laps. I'll go there in a minute. So continue. So I get a spin. This is obviously a big difference. You get an extra reward when you finish on the, it says on the podium, but I've gotten it for finishing 4th. So that's a little different. You slide down, and let's see what we get. And I get 110 cash. Sometimes I'll watch an ad. I won't do it. Obviously, you can see it here. So if you want to spin a second time, you can just watch an ad. It's not bad. So I won the challenges, and you see that it came up with those stars. You get 3 stars if you get all 5 challenges complete. That doesn't mean as much in this race. It'll mean quite a bit when I get to one of the later races that I will show. So continue on. Here comes an ad. As you can see, I didn't prompt that. It just came up automatically. I think Real Racing 3 does that in some of the really early stages. There you go. There's an advertisement that pops up to buy stuff in the game. I haven't spent any money on this game. I have actually spent a few dollars on Real Racing 3, but I haven't spent anything on this, and I won't. So continue on, exit out of that, and let's check out another track. Let's see. I guess I'll do Las Vegas. And so you see down here, there's the down at the very bottom center of the screen where it says enter. It looks like a gas can. And then you look up in the top right corner of the screen, and it's got another one. So it only gives you 5 at a time. And then if I click up here on the top, as you see down here at the bottom, I can watch an ad to run a race. So that's a fairly, it's different. I don't know if it makes a big difference, but it is different. So go ahead. Let's see, run 33rd, 166 mile per hour average lap, 5 total passes, 5 low passes, 5 high passes. Okay, on we go. Las Vegas, obviously this is a pretty standard NASCAR track. It's a 1.5 miles, kind of a D-shaped oval. It's wide. If you're a fan of open wheel racing, then this is not a good track, because this is actually the track where Dan Weldon was killed in 2001. He's actually right there in sort of the middle of turn 1 and turn 2. If I go down below the white line, it actually severely impacts the speed of the car, much worse than Real Racing 3 does. So I want to try to get up and pass some on the high side of the track. Now that was just stupid. I don't know if I've ever actually been in a wreck on the game, but that was dumb how the car just, it just sat there. That's not all that realistic. And as you can see, this race is only this is only 4 laps as well. Sometimes you'll get goals that want you to draft for a certain distance. Obviously more cars. You're probably used to seeing a lot of them. Obviously the 43 car there we have in the game, Real Racing 3. Some of these I just haven't noticed. So I finished 19th because I got caught up in that wreck. You can see the cash that I earned is far less. And so continue. I did actually meet all the goals, so that wasn't bad. And another ad for Final Fantasy. Alright, let me run, because obviously I really only have 3 races that I can run. We go to Richmond, since that's the other Real Racing 3 track that we're used to, and we'll look at the differences here. So I need to draft for 9,365 feet. That's a really long way. 27th bump draft. Yeah, okay. This is a really dumb track to have some of those goals, but whatever, we'll see how they go. So I start 36th. You notice that you don't always start last in this game. Passing up on the high side of the track. The big disadvantage here is that you're bound by however the game wants to accelerate for you. Passing the cars is pretty much the same. I think the graphics are reasonably the same. There are differences in the graphics, but I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I just think there's differences. And obviously this one is 7 laps, so that's not bad. I don't know if I'll be able to win. So I'm in 9th. We had a little caution there. Should come up here, and 2 laps to go. There are ways to change the sensitivity here. I'm not going to bother with changing the steering sensitivity. Steering assists are on. I haven't noticed a difference when I turned them off. I did turn them off for a couple races that I ran. I didn't notice any sort of a difference. And there we go. So 3,000 cash. I get another spin. See what I get. Not bad. No thanks. Okay, so after this next silly little ad here, what I will do is I'm going to go back. Now if you notice, I've run races that are really early in, I guess you would say early in the season rather than later in the season. Another offer for a starter pack. Okay, so let's go back. So this is the main, this is the sort of fan zone again. I'll go back over here. 900, so I'll go ahead and collect that. You know, that just, it sits there and generates just all the time. The races I ran, as you could see, they were very, they were sort of easy to win, and that is because I go here to this building. You can see engine, tires, exhaust, chassis, and aerodynamics. Those are all up to level 4 of the little yellow bars over there. That's currently what I am maxed out at. So this, and this is the garage where you keep the car. If I put upgrades on the car, you know, I go here and it'll tell me that I have them able to install. One of the things that this game does is you actually have to pay to make upgrades available. So I'll go to this icon down here that says build, and then it gives me all the different areas that I can build. So I can go to R&D. To upgrade that to level 5 is 20,000 cash. I go to garage, that's another 20,000 cash. So for this game, those actually go together. In order to upgrade the car to level 5, that R&D center and the garage have to both be at level 5. Obviously, that's significantly different from Real Racing 3. With that, you just upgrade the car to whatever you have. And then there's this merchandise area, which you can see that is obviously earning me money as well. So I can back that up, and then I'm going to go back over here again, and then down here in the bottom, the very bottom of the screen, you can see that for 9,000 in cash, I can upgrade the amount of money that I collect, and it goes to 90 a minute rather than 60 per minute. And then eventually you can get it all the way over here to where it pays, you know, 270 per minute. I actually didn't even notice that that was a thing until, I guess, yesterday. So let me just show you how it works. So you click on it and it pops up that 90 per minute for a maximum of 8,000. And as you can see right now, I am at 60 per minute with a maximum. It would be a maximum of 6,000, but then there's that little 1% thing you see over there. And so it bumps it up. So now I get 8,080, and I'll go ahead and collect that, whatever was there. So big differences. Then over here, this is like, I don't know, social media or something. I'm not connected to Facebook yet. I may. Then friends over here, I'll show you how this works. You can go visit, and then you'll see the little box there, so you get paid for coming to visit people. Again, another difference. So I was trying to zoom out, see if I could zoom in and see the whole thing. Yeah, so those are some of the obvious differences in the game. It's not just driving the cars around the track. I have to think there's more to the game that I just haven't been able to find. I have to think there's more more ways to drive. I mean, is there a series championship? Do I have to get through a certain point? Actually, up here at the top, I'll go to the one that looks like an instrument panel. So that's R&D. You go to the wrench. That's the garage. That is obviously this area where you earn things, and then the helmet that looks like the Stig is the social area. Another pop-up for an ad. So for $100, I get 1.6 million cash. I get 3,000 gold. Earn double cash, faster timers, and unlimited ability to drive races. Okay. I'm going to pass on that. One thing I will say is at this point that I am in the game, I have not seen anything that costs gold. You know, I think I started with 20. I haven't spent any, and now I'm at 36. So it just doesn't really go up. All right. So just for comparison, you saw how I ran at Daytona earlier, the really early season race at Daytona. Well, now I'm going to go run the late season race at Daytona with the exact same number of upgrades, just to show the difference. So obviously this one's at night. The graphics are a little bit different. It's pretty cool. I don't mind it. And here we go. And immediately you can see that I'm not able to keep up with the field the same way that I was for the earlier race. You know, I'm in last place. I really can't pass cars. So unlike in, you know, real racing where you unlike in real racing where you have to have the car upgraded to run certain events, you don't have to have it upgraded, but you're not going to be very successful. You end up back here like me, like I am in this one, where I just can't keep up. So I've lost, I think I lost 3 positions on that lap. I was in 32nd, now I'm in 35th, with pretty much no chance of coming up to pass anybody else. I guess I could possibly pass one of these guys, but it's very unlikely. And you can see drafting, but just not able to get any sort of a run. Up on the car ahead of me. And so there we go. I finished 35th, made almost nothing in cash. So that's a big deal. That's why you have to upgrade the cars. So let's see. And I got 0 of the stars for that one. So let's continue. So the deal with those stars is that you have to have a certain number of them to unlock the next race. Let me see. Let me go over here. And okay, so there's Indy, and it says you have to have 42 of the stars to unlock it. And I'm sure, well, okay, actually, so you can see there I only have 41. So if I go run, which I think I will, I'll run this next race. And so the bottom line is if I don't get one of those stars, if I don't meet track's not downloaded, so same thing as real racing, you have to download individual stuff. I do here because I haven't run this track before. 171 average lap, avoid 1 wreck, 14 passes, bump draft for 4,025 feet. That's a ridiculous goal for a track like this. And perform 13 passes. These are obviously randomly generated. This one should be interesting. NASCAR actually just raced there last night. It was a pretty decent race. So we're going to have to see what can I do with this with my low level of upgrades. This is sort of one of those things where, I have to figure out which line of the track is fastest. You can see they're running in the middle. Sometimes it's faster to be on the bottom. Sometimes it's better to be on top. 4 laps. We'll see. So basically, I have to get 3 of the goals in order to I have to get 3 goals in order to get the star, in order to unlock Indianapolis. And it's not looking like I'm going to succeed at doing that. So the only way I'm going to manage it is, well, I was going to say if I can get 170 miles per hour, 171 on the average lap. but that's not going to be very easy, especially not when I went off track. No. Alright, so 38th. You can obviously see that the races get more and more difficult. I did not get the star. Continue. Another silly ad for Final Fantasy. Go ahead, that one. Oh, okay. Never mind. I thought Indy was the next race, and not this one. So anyway, let me go ahead to this one, and I will enter. And I mean, obviously, this will be the last one, probably the last race that I run. You know, you can obviously see that there's differences here in the game. Yeah, whatever those goals are, you can and you can see that they show up on the screen. So they're right there at the top of the screen, so you know if you get them. 4 laps, I have to start last. Drafting for 15,000 feet on this track is, you know, it's almost impossible because the track's just so short. It's only a 1-mile track. I think this is one of those times where, like, whoever designs the game, they just don't understand the mechanics of how NASCAR works, because there's no purpose in drafting on a track this size. There's none at all. And so I finished 24th. 300 cash and no stars. And, you know, as you can see there, the next race at Indianapolis is locked, so I cannot go there. I would have to go back and, you know, I have to get more stars throughout the races, and then that'll unlock it. It's just like unlocking with trophies. In Real Racing 3, you unlock tiers with trophies, and so that's, you know, that's where I am. I haven't earned enough to unlock these later races. Going down the list, let me actually go all the way back up to the top. obviously this is a NASCAR game, so it's every NASCAR eligible track, which means it's a lot of oval tracks. Now there's a lot of differences that for somebody like me who is a NASCAR fan, I think it's pretty cool to be able to drive all these different tracks. If you're not a NASCAR fan, it's a little different. It'll probably get repetitive. Obviously, Phoenix is I mean, it's a circular track, but it's different. It's shorter, it's flatter. Martinsville, the shortest track on the circuit, one of the slowest tracks. Fort Worth, Texas, very fast track. Talladega, another very, very fast track. It's bigger, faster than Daytona. Long Pond, Pennsylvania, the Pocono Raceway, very interesting track to drive. You can see there, it looks like a triangle. And obviously, I'm gearing the video for people who typically pay Real Racing 3 and maybe don't watch a lot of NASCAR. Sonoma, California there, that's a road course. It's one of 2 road courses on the game. Indianapolis, obviously that's a track very familiar to people who play Real Racing 3. We come down Darlington for the Southern 500. Very old, very classic, racetrack. And so let me go ahead and go back to the main area here. Another pop-up to buy things. So I'm going to go ahead to the build screen. And then, so R&D, and it is 20,000. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase that. And then what you can see is it has the exclamation point above it. Click on it, and it tells me that I'm eligible to upgrade each of the car pieces. They're all the same. They're all the same cost, engine, tires, every one of them. So in this case, it's $4,963. So I will go ahead and do that, and then I'll back up, and then it goes here. And so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to see if it'll actually let me install this, because I know, interesting, I didn't actually know it would let me do that, because every time before I have upgraded both the research center here and the other one at the same time. So now you can see that I'm sort of scrolling around. Oh, I guess that was the store. I'm scrolling around because I want to buy as much as I can, and so I'm doing it kind of fast. So now I have 101 cash. I'll come in here, and now I have 2 more things that I can install. 30-minute install time. As you can see, there's no option to watch an ad to reduce the time. I can do the install now thing, which is obviously something that we have available in Real Racing 3. And you can see the gold up there, it went up. So if I go here to build, oftentimes what it will do is, so here, what this is saying is spend 20,000 to upgrade that, and it pays 10 gold. So they actually pay gold for spending cash on doing this stuff. So that's something different. Down here, okay, so I can do a hat stand. I can put a hat stand somewhere out here. and obviously they're different sizes, and so that pays cash. You can come here and I can expand this. I can build it bigger. So there's more here, and so that has the exclamation point still up because I haven't done chassis because I don't have cash for it. You know, it's a different game than Real Racing 3. It has more, I guess, more elements not directly related to the racing of it. Some things that it doesn't have that Real Racing 3 has. It doesn't have like weekly multiplayer tournaments, and not just online multiplayer, which everybody that plays Real Racing 3 knows is just terribly broken. But it doesn't have the time trial tournaments yet. It doesn't have race teams yet. It'll be interesting to see if some of those things come out, because this game, as far as I know, has only been out for about 3 weeks now. I think I downloaded it, the second or third day that it was out. I saw some ads for it on Facebook. Now, for me, the one thing that I wonder, and this really only applies as like if there's something on here that I haven't discovered. If all it is the racing and then running, these t-shirt shops and stuff here like you see on the screen, I wonder if the game is going to have the longevity that Real Racing 3 does, because even though most people that play that game might say that it gets a little bit boring or something like that, it doesn't have enough tracks, so on and so forth. The bottom line is that every 4 to 6, 8, 10 weeks, whatever it is, whatever interval, they do release new content for us, and they do keep players playing the game. So it'll be interesting to see if they intend to do this. Once I get the car upgraded, is there an option to turn it more into like a season championship type thing? Because right now there is no season championship. I'm just driving. So it'll be interesting to see how it sort of plays out. It's not a bad game. For me, it's not a replacement for Real Racing 3, and I kind of thought it might be, but it's definitely not. It doesn't have a lot of the features, and like I say, yet, that Real Racing 3 has. It doesn't even have the ability to play in like a season championship. There's no build up. I am having to upgrade the cars, but that's fairly simple. But overall, it's not a bad game. For me, it's a good supplement. It's it's fun. There's not the mandate to play every day.